The best ramp you're not playing.
It's 2-mana creature ramp, and I think that these are extremely underplayed, and if there is any type of synergy with any of these cards that we're going to talk about today, you should play them. Think about playing them. They're
Put them in
awesome.
your decks.
Yeah, my name's Howie.
I'm Levi.
Welcome to Northwest Magic. So, we all have green decks. Basically, everybody has a green deck. And everyone has a not green deck. The not green decks are playing Arcane Signets, Soul Rings, and the green decks are playing Rampant Growth, Nature's Lore, 3 Visits, things like that. But we're playing more and more ramp especially in the 2 slot these days. So if we want to fill those things out, why not add synergy to it, or just have really cool things stapled on to it? Like our first card, Armored Scrap Gorger. You could put this in any green deck. This thing's sick. Have you seen this? I know you've seen it because we talked about it. This is
but
not
viewer,
the first
have
time
you
you've
seen
any of
it?
these cards? It's an uncommon. It's a 1 and a green for a Phyrexian Beast. It's a 0/3. It gets +3/+0 as long as it has 3 or more oil counters on it. Tap, add 1 mana of any color, and whenever it becomes tapped, exile target card from a graveyard and put an oil counter on Armored Scrap Gorger. Instant speed. Instant speed, targeted graveyard hate. Repeatable. This thing's sick. Okay. Another one that I wanted to mention while we're on the topic of graveyard hate is Intrepid Paleontologist. It's a 1 and a green for a 2/2 human druid with tap, add a mana of any color, and 2 without tapping. Exile target card from a graveyard. You may cast dinosaur creature spells from among cards you own exiled with this card. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters with a finality counter on it. Even if, you could get rid of that entire last paragraph, just ignore it even exists, put some, Sharpie it out, like that new trend, people just Sharpie things out. It's instant speed, repeatable graveyard hate, and that's really cool. This gets you to your 4-mana commander on turn 3, and then if you have nothing to do after that, you have some bad draws, you can at least start picking things out of people's graveyards. It's pretty sick.
It's pretty good to have graveyard hate, let me tell you.
You want to pick one?
I'm trying to find Trail Tracker Scout on here.
Well, it's in alphabetical order.
Trail Tracker Scout, 1 and a green. Add 1 mana of any color. It's a raccoon. Whenever you expend 8, return up to 1 target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. This is awesome. I mean, you probably want to run it in a deck that has the ability to get to 8 somewhat well. But you're in green, baby. You're probably going to be casting up to 8 mana.
Yeah.
And for anybody that doesn't know, expend is when you expend 8 as you spend... You expend 8 as you spend your 8th total mana to cast spells. So, unfortunately, activating abilities with mana does not count towards your expenditure.
No. But this is sick. Goes in you could put in many decks. And I think that probably half this list that we're talking about is from cards that came out in the last year and a half-ish. So this has been a really good time for this. Maybe a better time than ever.
There's lots of good 2-mana ramp that's been coming out. Lots of two-mana dorks that have been coming out,
Yeah, they're not strictly better than Arcane Signet or Birds of Paradise at the 1-mana slot or whatever, but the synergy's really there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to talk about... I usually don't do this. I'm going to talk about a triangle card.
Oh, no!
I don't know if you've seen this one. I didn't talk with you about this before the video. It's called Prize Pig. It's from Lord of the Rings. Maybe you've seen this card. 1 and a green for a creature boar. 0/3. It has tap to add 1 mana of any color. I'm reading the card backwards. Whenever you gain life, put that many ribbon counters on Prize Pig. Then, if there are 3 or more ribbon counters on it, remove those counters and untap it. So, can get 2 mana per turn with that. If I put this in my Omnath deck, I'm gaining 4 life a turn. So this is always going to happen every single time. Repeatable 2 mana, pays for itself in 1 turn. There are plenty of green decks that gain you life, like
Moira,
Bellatrix Witherbloom,
Trash
Moira.
Tactician.
Wow, you should put this in there. It's a boar, not a.
It is not a raccoon, unfortunately.
Panda,
but it wouldn't be bad.
Oh, raccoon. Yeah.
But you want to know what also isn't a raccoon is Tender Wild Guide. One in a green. It has offspring for 2, so if you want to have a little friend come out, you absolutely can if you got that extra 2 mana. Add 1 mana of any color, and it also taps to put a counter on itself. So, hey, it can get kind of big. If you don't need to spend that mana, you could just be like, alright, cool, throw a counter on this guy. And there's lots of counter synergies.
If your deck cares about counters at all or tokens at all, like you got Adrix and Nev, put this in there because you could offspring for 2 and have 3 total dudes after that. Even more with Anointed Procession, Mondrak, throwing a second harvest, any of that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. The next one I wanted to talk about is actually our patrons, Richard Dilks, King Dom, and Ed. I don't know what his thing is. Ed Solaire. Catch him on episode 1 of Elder Dragon Hot Wings. Also, I want to thank our sponsor, Oni Discs. Elevate your disc golf game. Check out their website and enter NWM10 at checkout to get 10% off your order. Helps them, helps us. It's awesome. We all play Magic. That's why you're here watching this video, but consider going outdoors and getting some exercise. It's great for you and it's fun. Another activity that you can just bring a bunch of pals with and have a good time. So the next actual card we're going to talk about is another one that came out this year, and it might be my favorite card of the year. I've already stand over this card. Fanatic of Ronos. Beautiful card. 1 and a green for a Snake Druid. It's a 1/4 with tap to add green. And it has Ferocious. Tap to add green, 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 green. That's 4 mana. Activate only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. I have this in my Calamax deck. I have this in my Omnath deck.
He's online in Calamax immediately.
Yeah, same with Omnath. Like, if you have a commander that's in green with 4 or more power,
put this in
even
there.
Even if it like doesn't have that right away, like if you're playing Miss Bumbleflower and you're putting +1 counters on stuff all the time, consider putting this in there too. Because going from 2 mana dropping this, 3 mana dropping your commander, and on the 4th turn you have like probably 8 mana. Then you can expend 8 with the raccoon, you know what I mean? That's sick. Trailblazer Tracker. Was that his name?
Yep.
Trail Tracker Scout. You lied to me. I lied to you, and then you confirmed the lie.
I just thought it was. I don't know.
Yeah, you just believe everything I say. I love it. Next.
Hard Bristle Bandit I thought was kind of cool.
He's really sick. That's a good segue.
Plant Rogue. Add 1 mana of any color. Whenever you commit a crime, you untap him. It triggers once each turn. Pretty solid. I mean, he kind of refunds you a card. A lot of crime committing cards only cost like 1 mana, 1 or 2 mana, So you could it could refund you whatever you got, which is pretty nice, especially because, there's lots of also instant speed commit crime cards. Yeah. You just target, as long as you just target something that opponent controls.
Yeah, and there are plenty of commanders that just target opponents' things, like, again, Miss Bumbleflower. You can have Bristly Bill, even though you might not want to. You could, if you really needed the mana. Landfall, put a +1 counter on an opponent's creature. Trostani, the one from Karlov Manor, targets stuff. I think Roxanne, Starfall Savant, also targets stuff. It's pretty cool. I love these things that have the built-in untap at 2 mana. It's not as much mana as Fanatic of Ronos, but that's the ceiling. Next to the next card that we're talking about, only in 5-color decks, Bloom Tender. This is probably one of the older cards, maybe the oldest card on the list.
You might know this one, honestly, if you've been in the game for a bit.
Yeah, but I do want to point it out because a lot of these cards, even if they synergize with your commanders, they're not showing up on EDH Rec because everybody's throwing in the 3 visits, the Nature's Lores, the Soul Rings, Arcane Signets, and they're forgetting about these things. If you have, I would say, a 2-color commander, you should consider Bloom Tender. If you have 3, you really should. If you have 4, put it in there. 5, if you don't, you're... what do you... You got another thing coming, bud. I just don't like... You're a fool. Like, 2 mana, And then you end up getting your commander out eventually, and then you get 2 mana tap for 5. That's amazing, especially if you have untapped synergy. That's sick.
Orochi Merge Keeper. Add green, tap add green. And then as long as he's modified, he does 2 green. And in the same vein, Incubation Druid adds 1 mana of any color, and if it has a counter on it, you add 3 mana of any 3 mana of that type instead. And it also has adapt 3, but most people don't. You're not going to do that.
You could. The option
you could,
but
you're probably not.
These are also wow. Is this just a video where I'm going to stand over Miss Bumbleflower the whole time? Because those both go great there, too.
They go great in Bumbleflower because she'd be given counters which will modify both Orochi Merge Keeper. And,
is that a Naruto character?
I don't know where that even came from. It just reached down into the depths of my brain. It's also a One Piece character.
You're just being a weeb over there, man.
Yeah, I don't watch anime.
Yeah, okay, whatever. If you care about having multiple creatures out, Leafkin Druid's pretty cool. Taps to add green if you control 4 or more creatures. Scoot Swarm, whatever. Jetmir makes a lot of creatures. Not himself, but the deck does. Add green instead. Pretty cool.
Yeah, there's lots of just awesome 2 mana dorks that when you kind of do a little side quest for them, they really pay off.
Oh, yeah. Side quests are pretty cool, especially when they're attainable.
Queer elves. Oh, Quirian elves. Sorry. Sorry.
He's got weird eyebrows, doesn't he? Look at him. He looks like Halson if he was, like, stupid. Anyway. Yeah, so that's all the 2 mana ramp for creatures that we wanted to talk about today. There are several more. I don't want to talk about every single one in this slot, but if you go to scryfall.com, go to creature, tap, add in the text field, and have the mana value equal to 2. You can see them. There's like 85. Some of these aren't really mana dorks, or some of them are kind of bad, like Druid of the Cowl, just taps for green. We want the stuff that adds more stuff to our stuff. Gives us synergy. So that's pretty cool. I want us to bump up those EDH rec numbers, all right? Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.